This is an official Scottish Productions remix.
What's up, everybody? This is Bree from Young, Saved, and Free, and I'm back with this week's Tuesday Talk. I'm so excited to be back. It's been a while. I had a lot of personal things going on, so I didn't have a lot of time to do this. I just had to take some time to heal, honestly. So before we get started, welcome to my channel. I'm so sorry, I'm so rude. My name is Brianna. I am the founder and creator of Young, Saved, and Free. And I hope that you all enjoy this content. And for everybody new here, welcome to my channel once again. And for those been here, thank you for your support, and I appreciate and love you guys so much. And everybody, make sure you're subscribed to my channel by hitting the subscribe button down below, and also hitting the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. I have a few good things that's coming up. I'm really excited to do some of the things that I'm doing right now. So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get started with it. This week we are going to be talking about this whole Black Lives Matter movement, and why I haven't said anything as of yet. Now, to be honest, I have not said anything because I've been trying to figure out how to get my words together in a place where I don't sound like I'm being extremely defensive, because I do tend to come off that way, especially because I'm a very passionate person. So a lot of times when people ask me something or they say something and I don't agree with it, my passion can be misunderstood for anger and being defensive, and that's not what I intend for it to be. That's just how I am. But I am working on that. So and on top of that, I really didn't know how to approach the topic, because I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm an activist. I do know right from wrong, definitely. So I definitely feel, I understand what's going on, but politics is just not my zhuzh. It's not my thing. But you can't be an influencer and not have any kind of opinion on matters like this. It's one thing to not really know which person to vote for president. Sometimes it's very obvious. Other times it's like, I don't really know. I'm not well versed on the issues. But I do think that with this situation, it is showing, and my computer just went down for work. Can you see that? It does this like all the time. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the most versed on these issues, but this situation is bringing out everyone's true colors. It's showing, and I feel like it's been like this since Donald Trump has been in office. He ain't my president. Like, I just live here. He's not my president. I don't do nothing that he asks. That's really where I'm at with it right now. Like, I just live here. Literally, just live here. And it's interesting that I'm wearing this shirt, because if you guys did not know, I did go to Valdosta State University in Valdosta, Georgia, and he actually had a rally on our campus. Well, I wasn't in school at that time. I had already graduated, but I didn't even think about that when I put this shirt on. I just threw it on because I just didn't feel like putting real clothes on today. But it's very disheartening to see how so many people are just like how they really feel about situations, how ignorant they can be. And I don't mean ignorant to be offensive, but I mean it as in you literally don't know, not having any knowledge of it, like being completely ignorant of the matter. And I think that with this situation, a lot of people, because they don't understand, they say stuff and it doesn't even like process. Like, for example, Trina, as you guys know, the Queen of Miami. It was all over the blog that she was calling the rioters and the looters animals, and I think it's because she just does not understand it. I think that is my thing, because she, even though she is the baddest, the music is her thing, but she also does real estate. She also has several businesses. So from a business standpoint, I can understand why she feels that way. If y'all down here tearing up stuff and y'all tearing up my buildings, yeah, I'm gonna feel some type of way about it. And I think a lot of people, for me personally, I don't understand why people are rioting in their own neighborhoods. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess for me, looking at it from where I come from, I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I lived in Richmond County. There's a distinct difference between Richmond County and Columbia County. Richmond County, you can tear something up and it ain't never gonna get rebuilt. So why would I tear up where I live at? Because nobody's gonna rebuild it. It's gonna stay like that forever, and I don't want that. But if I'm gonna tear up something, I'm gonna go over to Columbia County. Cache County is what they call what we call it back home, because the richer side of town. And so I don't understand that. I don't understand why people are doing that particular thing. I do understand why they're rioting and why they're looting and why they're doing these things, but I don't understand why they're doing it, where they're doing it. Sometimes I just don't get that. But I think it's a big misunderstanding on some people. They don't understand it, and I think that. Not only that, but this is bringing out people's true colors as far as they feel about how they are as a person. Because to me, if you look at the George Floyd situation, the Breonna Taylor situation, Sandra Bland, Kendrick Johnson, who also was from Valdosta, by the way, and I was in school when he was killed. I lived maybe 5 minutes from his high school. Maybe. Like, literally, you come out of my apartment complex, turn at the stop sign, then you turn left at the stop sign, turn right at the light. His school was right there. Like, right there. Like, you could get there in 5 minutes. I could get to his school quicker than I could get to campus. Like, it was that close. And I just don't get, like, how people can see situations like that and say stuff like, they deserved it, they shouldn't have been there in the first place, and maybe if they didn't look like they were doing something, like, to say stuff like that, it shows the lack of compassion that people have, the lack of empathy, the lack of sympathy, all of that, the lack of being, like, just being a common human being, like, just having that base. I don't understand how you could look at that situation and say that. But again, it's a true definition of who you are as a person. I don't have to be an activist to do this. I don't have to be anything. But I know what it is. I know what right is and I know what wrong is. I don't have to be well versed in politics to know that. To know that somebody is saying, I cannot breathe, and you still won't give them up for air, that fundamentally and principally is wrong. I don't care about all the logistics and all the stuff behind it. If I'm, like, that's like saying uncle. Y'all remember when we was kids, like, we used to play fight and be like, say uncle. That he's telling you, hey, get off me, okay, uncle, I quit, I give up. The man is telling you he cannot breathe, and you insisted on doing that. And I believe, who was it? Philando Castile that happened to too? Or was it Eric Garner? Somebody else that happened to, they said they couldn't. No. I don't know. This has happened so many times. I can't remember which person it was, but this is not the first time that it happened. And I think that being, okay, I'm back, y'all. So, yeah, I think I don't even know what was that. Oh, I think just to be in this and not have any kind of, basic human decency, that's crazy to me. Like, how do you even live in this world and you can't see when somebody is clearly being done wrong and you have no opinion on it? Like, and that was kind of why I kind of shied away from this, because I'm not even going to talk about the actual situations that happen, because that's obviously wrong. There's so many other things that are going on that are side effects of this that I think people are missing. Like, and do I really want to? But there's so, like, and it all is a reflection of what's at the head. Even in the spiritual world, anything that's going on with your pastor, with your apostle, if once it hits them, it comes all the way down. Same thing in the political world. Whatever's going on with your president, your king, mayor, emperor, whatever you want to call it, it trickles down. It has a trickle down effect. Because your president, I'm saying y'all president, because it ain't my president. My president, listen, I am a free agent. Barack Obama's not in office anymore, so I am a free agent. It sounds crazy, but that's exactly how I feel. Like, since that man has been in the office, and I'm not talking about Obama, y'all know exactly who I'm talking about, there's been so much blatant racism that I'm in fear for my children, and I don't even have children. I'm in fear for how do you raise them to be strong human beings and to be people that will stand up for themselves in situations like this? And it's crazy. It's so scary to me to think about that way, because my grandparents were, they were activists. They were around during these times. I live in South Georgia. My grandmother is from this area. It's scary to think what it was like for her when she was my age. My grandma was born in 1940. So that means when she was 27 years old, they were in the middle of the civil rights movement. And it's scary to see that, to think that and see the differences. And I think, or even back to the rioters and the looters, people don't understand because it's different. Back in the civil rights movement, there were the Malcolm X followers and there's Martin Luther King. It's like Malcolm X was a little bit more extreme, and Martin Luther King was more peaceful. But because there's different, people didn't really understand each other. And I think even in this situation, the older generation, they are more peaceful. While my generation, we grew up with the knuck if you buck, run up, get done up. What you gonna do? No problems type of stuff like that. I'm telling you, when I work out, which is very rare, I listen to that era. It gets me in the mood. But how do you think it was gonna be peaceful when we grew up on that stuff? But who made that? Who made that music? The generation before us. And to think that my generation, I was born. Let's see, the Watts riots were. I want to say the Watts riots were in 94. Hold on. Let's search. Let's use our resources. Oh, it was in 92. So yeah, it was the year that I was born. And, for that to be born into that and to still, as an adult to be in this, it's kind of disheartening because I'm almost 30 years old and the same issues that were happening with my grandparents were my age is still happening right now. And it's really scary. And it's not that things haven't changed or that it's getting worse. It's just publicized. We have so many more outlets now. Back then, they didn't have Instagram, Twitter. I was about to say MySpace, Jesus. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. They ain't have none of that. TikTok, they ain't have none of that stuff. So it wasn't, when stuff happened, people in that area knew. But it might not have been a widespread type of thing. And this lash is really getting on my nerves. But, yeah, it wasn't a widespread type of thing. It was more so, we gonna keep it hush hush, but you heard about what happened to little Jimmy over there. It wasn't wow, let's talk about this. It wasn't like that. It just now something can happen in Atlanta. People in LA gonna know in the same within a few minutes, and it's just a time time difference. It shows the difference in our generations. But I think, honestly and truly, and from the bottom of my heart, I truly believe that this generation, we a little bit more bold. We buck. We not gonna play no games with you. But I think that we are, because we're so creative and because we're so innovative, that we have the possibility to do more than what was done before us. So, and we have so many other resources. Back then, some of the stuff that we have now, it just was not heard of. And I think we need to use that to our advantage. So, for brands and businesses that support this foolishness, that is police brutality, anyone that supports it, then we know how we gotta treat them. I'm sorry, I love Pizza Hut, but I won't be buying Pizza Hut. Love Wendy's, won't be eating there. Nope. There's so many brands and businesses. You can look this stuff up as far as who donated to what. And instead of it, because this racism thing is so big right now, what I do is I go to places that are made for white people and buy black owned products. So like I'll go into Target, I'll buy honey pot, I'll buy lip bar, I'll buy, whatever, Shea Moisture, all of that stuff. I'll buy all of my black owned products in white based stores. And it's like that's what you have to do, because they don't. And to be honest, I was talking to my uncle last week, and he's a little bit extreme sometimes. Like he can be, but he had a point. And sometimes you have to take out the real lessons from it, because sometimes he just be talking. I'll be like, "What are you talking about? Like what?" But what day was that? Sometime last week we were talking, and it was like he said something about how this was all systematic. This whole thing was systematic, and I was like, he may be onto something. And he started explaining. He was like, coronavirus been going around, and now we have because when he got here, let me see. He's my aunt's fiance, so he's not exactly my uncle yet, but yes, my little cousin's phone is going off, and if y'all can hear it, but he's very extreme, very political, very that's just his thing. And so he was like, they're killing us, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, they're trying to kill all the black people so that they can get who they want in office. And I didn't really think about it that way. I was like, okay, but I mean, like, they've been killing us, and that doesn't make it right. Just because they've been killing us doesn't mean that it's still right, And I'm sorry for the light. It's getting close to 5 o'clock, so the sun is shifting a little bit. But to be in that situation. But to be, in that situation where so many things happen back to back. So now we have the coronavirus that black people are dying from at a much higher rate. Black people are at risk for any kind of medical anything. Black women die at a higher rate from childbirth. Like that whole situation, the fact that it's just black women that are dying at that rate is scary to me. And because there's so many people that are pregnant, having babies, it scares me for my friends when they tell me that they're pregnant, because I'm like, I don't want to lose my friends. And it's not that I'm afraid of having children at all. That's not the case. I want to have a house full of kids. But the thought of you could die in childbirth scares me. So that, and then we got coronavirus is taking black people out like no other. Like, to be honest, I'm not saying that white people don't die from it, but I ain't heard of none. Not here anyway. The most of the people that I've heard that have it in this area are black. But that also maybe because I don't associate with a lot of white people here. Not, like I said, I'm not saying it don't happen, but it does. This is what my experience. And then now because it is a known fact that prison counts are based off of stuff in elementary school. That's scary to me. What if my son, whenever he's in school, he's counted out because of the color of his skin? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have to explain that to him. It just, like, the whole this is an election year. Every election year there is something that happens, but this is just too much. Like, y'all are literally killing us. People are rioting and you locking them up for having emotions. Like, you don't listen to them when they try to be peaceful about it, but then when they're being outlandish and, extreme, you want to lock them up. And I'm like, pick one. Y'all see that? It just happened again. Like, it's very disheartening to me. It's upsetting me and my husband. No, I'm playing. I play so much. But, it's very disheartening to see that, and I wouldn't really know how to respond to that, to be honest. I think that at this time, we need to be mindful. There are so many, we don't have to go to the extremes all the time, but there are, people have their strengths. Some people are good at making scenes. That is my thing. Like, you want somebody to mess some stuff, you want somebody to cause a scene real quick? That's me. That's me. I can be very peaceful. I absolutely can. But when I had enough, I had enough. And I started going ham. You can ask any of my family members. They be like, yeah, she the one that's a little, whew, like she go to 0 to 100 real quick. Real quick. Like, it's just, I take off and that's it. And there's no coming back from that. But then there are people who are more peaceful. So like Mark Moore Jr., they're doing, for YLC, they're doing bailouts. And for protesters. Not for people that just want to steal shoes and steal stuff just because, but for actual protesters, they're doing stuff for them. And I can appreciate that. As a black woman who lives in the South and has experienced racism as a child, I can appreciate that. But I think that there's a lot of things that we're uncomfortable with that we have to deal with at this time. And I think that a lot of people aren't really trying to understand. There's some people who just are making ignorant statements, point blank, period. And then there are other people who are wanting people to feel bad. Like there's some people who are making the same post that I'm so pro-black, I went to a HBCU, I'm so pro-black, I date black men. Okay. And if I don't date a black man at this moment, that doesn't make me any less black than you. Me personally, I have dated white men. Me personally, I have gone to a PWI, as you can see, and I also went to a HBCU. But that doesn't make me any less black than the person standing next to me. And I think that at this time, people that are using those kind of techniques to further separate people, that's dead. Like y'all gotta stop that. That's crazy. We should be getting together at this time instead of trying to say, well, you're not as black as I am because you don't do this, this, that, or you're not as black as I am because you don't do this, this, that, or I'm more black than you. And it's not that deep. I mean, it is the circumstances surrounding it is that deep, but that actual statement that you made, it ain't that deep. Like it's so much bigger than just where you went to school and where you live. It is about the color of your skin. Because regardless, if I'm living on, Pinnacle Way where I was living, if I live in the bottom, or if I live in Columbia County, if they see my black self driving in my parents' car, my parents have very nice vehicles, they will pull me over, and that's just what it is. It's not. Unfortunately, that should not be the case. Unfortunately, that is the world we live in, and I pray to God that something will change. I pray that He'll give us, wisdom. He'll show us the way to make the change, because this is not. I just refuse to let this keep going like this. I have, my children will not have to go through this, and I refuse to let this keep happening. I don't know. I've been talking for a really long time, and I didn't think I was gonna talk this much about it. And my throat hurting. I got choir practice in a few minutes, so I'm gonna end this with y'all. And I love y'all, and thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, it's your girl Ray. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.